Welcome, everybody. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Additions to the agenda. I have 2 executive sessions to add to the agenda at the end.
So moved.
You got to second it, man, because you're
I'll
the
second.
only one here. Moved and seconded to add 2 executive sessions onto the end of the agenda under new business. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. So we have 2 of those.
Pass those on.
Sure, I'm done. We're all done with them. All right. I don't have any remarks for this evening. We have no public to get agenda comments from. We have no guests. We have no department and committee meetings. So I'm looking for the approval of regular meeting minutes and budget meeting minutes from September 18th, please.
I move that we accept the regular minutes from September 18th and budget minutes from September 18th.
Second.
As written, or whatever.
Yes. So moved and seconded to accept the regular meeting minutes and budget meeting minutes from September 18th as written. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Bills and warrants, please.
Okay. I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 8T accounts payable, $1,798,842.73. That includes the school payment.
Mm-hmm.
37S payroll, $7,364.86. And 38S payroll, $8,268.51.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the bills and warrants as read. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Appointment to Capital Plan Committee, Sandra. I'm going to destroy this last name, and I apologize. Rulewich.
No, right on.
I was right on? Yes. It's as it sounds. I like it.
I move that we appoint Sandra Rulewich to the Capital Plan Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept Sandra Rulewich onto the Capital Plan Committee. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Excuse me. Approved net metering option for Recreation Department. We no longer have that option available. So as we remember from several years ago, we bought into the solar project at Wyndham Solid Waste.
Yeah.
A couple folks had dropped out, so a couple places had been opened up to be able to purchase more from them, which has been very beneficial for us. We weren't able to get our hats in the ring in time because obviously we only meet once in a while, and it was kind of quick. They went fast, but we will get on it more quickly next time and maybe have a special meeting because it does have a very big net benefit to the town. I think it's saving us somewhere around, I don't know, a third on our electric bills right now. So we will, when that email shoots out again, we'll hopefully can get to the top of the list on that. So we're going to go over some of the budget stuff tonight since Michelle is here and she's taken notes for us. Over the course of this last year, there's specifically our budgets that we deal with. And we've told her different things throughout the course of the year to remember when this time comes around. And so we wanted to do that part tonight. So we will start with the select board budget.
Do you want me to start with what I've got?
Yeah, if you got notes on that one.
Yep, we do not have a number for the auditors yet, because we just sent the RFPs out. And hopefully we'll get a bunch of those in by the end of November, last November meeting, hopefully we'll have that done. On the select board side, that I have notes for, For travel, my only caution there is if anybody is expected not to run and we are expecting new members, that should be increased back to 3. I think we had a big rush of newer members in the last 2 years taking advantage of some trainings, which is really great. Other than that, for this particular budget, the emergency repair and replacement fund. So there have been discussions about maybe moving that into the line item rather, but there have been discussions about moving that into a fund, which makes total sense. It's a big number, and instead of raising that $10,000 each year, you can put $10,000 in a fund and just replenish the fund each year, if you spend any money out of it. We did have one year where we had a lot of emergency replacements. That included our septic system and our well pump. There was just seemed to be one after the other. So we can talk about that now, or if you want me to work on wording that article with the town attorney as I work on the articles coming up, I will do that, or we can put the $10,000 into that line item. It's up to you.
I think we were all in agreement, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it made sense to turn that into a fund? Yes?
I recall, yes.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Okay. So as far as the outside audit, why can't we just put 15,000 in the budget?
We'll know an exact number by the end of the budget
Okay.
season.
Yeah.
By the time this is finalized, we'll have an exact number to put in there.
Okay, very good.
If you want to put a placeholder in to get closer to what you think the total might be, I can have Cindy do that.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. But we will definitely have that number. So to get back to the fund, the discussion now is the wording of that article. So what is an emergency repair or replacement? Are we talking something that suddenly costs, because we do have money for building repair in the budget, which if something comes up for a few $100s, we expect that, we know that, as far as maintaining the building, that's gonna happen. Do we wanna say anything over $1,000?
I think that was the discussion, but you guys,
Mm.
I think it was something over like $500 or $1,000 to be
500?
used out of that fund was what was, I think it was Sandy's suggestion,
I think
actually.
1,000 is more reasonable than 500.
Cause then for 500, if you get to 800,
You can't get
if
much
you
done
get
for
to a couple of
500.
800s though, that's gonna stretch our repair. You know what I mean, what we put in the line item. If we get to a couple of unexpected $800 bills.
What was
That
some of
might-
I know when we had stuff going on previously, the septic and stuff like that, what were those bills like? Do you have any recollection?
I think one goes to 3,000. The septic was pretty pricey because we had to have a new cover made for that. And
Yeah.
a new pump. And what was the other one we had? It was on the other side of the building.
So even if we worded it at 5, but we could still direct, if we wanted to use the repair and replacement line item, not this new fund, we could do that.
Right, exactly.
Depends on what your definition of an emergency is, I think, in the end, but that's fine.
Yeah, and then that's
I
what we
mean,
have to
if
figure
it's-
out in the,
If it's an emergency, it's gonna be probably more than $1,000.
yeah, I would think so.
So I lost you for a second. Are you thinking of keeping some in this line item and also doing a?
No,
Right,
but
no.
we have a repair line item. We do
Yeah,
have money for
right.
repairs that come up through the year.
Right, that's.
So, but if we get, an $800 here and an $800 there and another 800,
Yeah.
which is just under the 1,000, that could really stretch that budget and go over it.
Oh,
That's
okay, I see what you're saying.
really what I worry about. And I would qualify an emergency as something that cannot wait till the next budget year. I would just say really that simple, because you can budget for things, like the floors need to be done, it's really kind of a building maintenance and
Right.
repair, but we added money to that line item to cover that expense. I wouldn't qualify that as an emergency, even though, it's over $1,000. But I think giving you all the flexibility to take it out of there, even if it's 500, is probably a good idea.
It's fine.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually, I mean, I remember when that was put like that, and I think I said this before, was because the other departments were not to, like, over budget just in case, you know,
Right.
in case something broke down, that if they had that kind of emergency replacement or repair, that this is where it would come from, instead of every department
Yeah.
inflating to cover
That makes
what
sense.
hasn't happened.
And it makes sense to have that in a fund where, you know,
We
our
can
emergency
keep it.
capital fund is $10,000 or more. That's,
Right,
so it makes sense that this exists and we have tapped it
yep.
before. And to put it in a, we haven't tapped it over the 10,000 since I've been here
Yeah.
anyway.
So we're good with the fund, and we're good with the $500 cap, or minimum, I guess.
500?
Okay. Is there any other, do we like the language of it has, an emergency is something that has to be done within this budget year?
I don't know that we have to define it in the article. We can
Okay.
if we want to.
Say, yeah.
I guess I wouldn't, just think it gives a little levity to it.
I just
not-
put unexpected
Might.
expenses.
My conception of an emergency is a little more urgent than,
Probably.
let's wait a
Right.
couple months,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah,
But this,
So let's just
but
leave-
I mean, this is municipalities are different
Yeah.
business, so,
so let's just leave it alone then. We don't need to put any definition.
yeah. Be a little
Yeah, I just said,
flexible.
I just put unexpected expenses,
Mhm.
and for town capital repairs, or for any repairs. Would that be
I would say any.
Service,
for any repairs?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you need emergency electrical service, that's gonna be labor, not materials.
Yeah.
Majority would be labor.
Okay, and then to have the fund be replenished each year at town meeting upon town meeting vote,
Yeah,
So we
if
can just put
needed.
it back in?
Yeah.
What was spent.
just what was spent, right? Okay. So, we'll do that, auditors were good. And is that on this one? Okay, that's all I have for this, so if you all just wanna go through the numbers to make sure, those are all my comments.
Jeff, do you have anything on this budget?
Not yet.
Gene?
Nope, she answered my questions.
Okay. That was why I wanted to do this one with her in the room, is because she's been
Yeah.
taking notes for us all year round, and
Yes.
it would be difficult for us
So,
to.
as far as legal services, you feel confident 15,500 is adequate for going forward?
For which? Jeff?
Legal services.
The legal?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like
It's
in the
about
past, we've
what we
set an
spent.
amount in the, didn't we? And then they kinda had to come in to that number. No?
The
So
legal
that-
services line, is what she's talking about.
Oh, legal services?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you pretty much know what the attorney retainer's gonna be.
Right, and since you've had a town administrator on board, you really haven't gone into that.
Yes, of course.
Just say it. We don't tap into him a whole lot, and a lot of times if we do have to, I'll check and see if we've reached our
Yeah,
monthly limit and see if I can wait a few weeks to
yeah, good.
go on the next month, if it's something we need to do, but
We utilize
Usually we can
VLCT and a lot of other
we do
people
that
that,
too.
well, I can't say they don't charge us, because they do, but they just don't charge us on that line item.
Comes out somewhere. Okay. That was the only question I guess I had on that.
Okay. Jean, you got as well?
Yes.
Okay. General expenses, very next page.
Okay, so we're taking that one out. I just want to make sure that I have this all set for Cindy. So in the general expenses, my suggestion would be to, so right now we have contracts, maintenance, and repair, all in one line item. Most of our contracts, we pretty much know, we know most of what they are. We pay a bill from Muth, a certain amount to keep us all updated on our computers. There's certain contracts that we have that we pretty much know the price of. That's sort of lumped in with that maintenance stuff that we just talked about. To me, it might be clearer if those were 2 line items. So that our set contracts were in one and extra expenses for repairs and maintenance of town equipment and buildings was in another.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. You able to break that out into 2 figures yet?
I'm not, I had talked with Cindy and she hadn't,
Okay.
hadn't done it that way before, so, but I can talk with her about doing it. Would also ultimately like to add another $400 to that, because, this does not include the key contract,
Oh, yep.
so it would be 24,400, which is what our key contract is for the year is $400.
What's under the line item communications? What does that entail?
That is the BCTV
Okay.
contract money.
Insurance and bonds is blank, what is she?
I think
Need
that
to
Cindy is,
figure
I
that
think
out.
Cindy's waiting to
Mm,
see
yeah,
what
that is.
their estimate is for the year.
We're doing pretty good on postage this year. $7.
Oh, but February and March
Oh,
haven't
that's right.
arrived yet.
Yeah, stand by.
That's right.
That's all I had on this one.
No, last year, and I don't know if I'm assuming it'd fall in this line item. Last year, we talked about installing GPS in some of the vehicles and equipment so we can have a better understanding of how much gets used what. The grader was a big question that we had, obviously, when we upgraded it, is how much do we really use it? Do we really need it? Can we rent it and save the time and hassle and that kind of thing? All those questions could be answered in, that fashion. That would be under contracts, I would assume, yes?
I would put it there, yeah, because that would be a set cost.
So you looked into a couple different options?
I did, and the best price that I got was for a hardwired system for 6 vehicles was $1,000 a year. And we could cut that down because if there's vehicles that are only being used during certain seasons, we wouldn't have to pay the monthly cost.
You could take them off the contract
Yes.
for those.
And installation and moving the hardwired system was no charge. This actually also included I think it also included like a really discount deal with Michelin or something. I didn't really look that far into that one.
So that 1,000, there's no initial purchase of equipment? Okay.
All of that was included.
Okay.
What system was that?
That was Next Track. And they had a municipal, actually a good municipal discount.
And actually, Next Track is what my company uses.
GPS pretty standard in the industry these days.
Mm-hmm.
They ran me through a whole system and it'll alert you if there's an accident, so if one of your drivers could be in trouble, let you know.
And that was one of the
Which
things
was
that we were
nice.
looking at with that too.
Yeah, all the milk hauling trucks, they'll have GPS on them.
Yeah. So what is our
If it gets stolen, we will.
what is our thoughts on? It's not a significant add to the budget, but it is an add, and every penny adds up. But is there a cost benefit to having those? And better understanding of how much our vehicles are used and being able maybe to drop a vehicle or two if they're not getting used.
Guess that's one of those things you don't know until you try it. For sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure that you know, with a grader we own, so I'm not sure that, how that would work out to be renting one, except if the maintenance got out of hand.
Yeah, and I think that was before we agreed to buy the graders, when we were kind of talking about it and saying, you know, this could help us understand, you know, because that'll be up for the capital plan in probably another couple of years, we'll start saving for another grader because they're over $100,000.
Yeah.
And so if we have GPS history from last, you know, 2 or 3 years before that comes back on the capital plan that it drives 3 miles a year, then we will probably not have that expense. And
Is there 6 miles of gravel road in town
yeah,
that's used on?
so we'll be able to utilize that data and say, you know what, we really don't need a new grader. We can probably just rent one
Right.
and not take that $10,000 a year or $20,000 a year in the capital plan because we have the information that we have. So I think you're right. It's one of those things we're not going to know the value until we actually do it.
I mean, if it doesn't appear to add any value in subsequent years, don't have to do it. It's a contract.
Okay.
I think it's worth just trying out for a year.
Okay.
So are we adding that to the contract?
I believe so. So that will be separated as well from the maintenance and repair. But it'll bring that total to 25,400.
And I'll have those separated out. I'll talk to Cindy.
And actually, I would
So I'll
be,
leave her a note before I leave.
I would be interested if our insurances, both auto insurance and liability and that kind of thing, would give us a break because we have that and we have that crash alert and that kind of thing in the GPS systems. If that would take our rates down at all.
I don't know, does,
It may.
you know, like with OnStar and GM vehicles,
Yeah.
I don't know if that does or not.
I got no idea.
I
So maybe we can look into that too once we get them installed and see if there's a break for being extra safe.
Should be.
Okay, and you, so, just now, since we're looking at dividing things up, you had mentioned, since I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, with the fire department, the lost wages,
Mhm.
also mentioned going into a fund. That's a very small account, and Cindy had indicated that the amount of work to set up the fund and to manage the fund might be cost more than it's worth. Because it was such a small amount of money, so tomorrow when you look at that, you might wanna consider that too.
Okay.
That's all I had for this.
All right, Jeff, you have anything else on the general expenses budget?
Technology upgrades. Do you foresee spending as much as, yeah, we still have a ways to go.
Well,
Always, I suppose.
you were, remember, you're spending the same amount you always have, but you were putting it into the capital plan and just saving up to spend it all at once. So instead of doing that now, we're just keeping the 5,000 in here so that hopefully,
Did it replace it?
everything doesn't break down at once, cause you replaced it all at once. So we're doing, the more jagged, not all the computers got replaced in the
Yeah.
same year. Hopefully next year, we're finishing up some upgrades this year, in the computer system, and hopefully next year we can upgrade our phone system, cause that's in dire need of upgrading.
Okay.
So I think that's an important one to keep there, and I think it's
Yep.
cheaper to do it this way than to try to.
Yeah, I know, I don't disagree with 5,000, I'm just curious as to what the need is gonna be coming up.
Yep, the need will definitely be the phone system. And probably a couple more keys.
Gene, do you have anything else on the general expense?
Nope.
Okay. Building and grounds. Gotta find it. There it is.
And I don't have anything on this one. the supplies, is that's where everybody's ordering through Cindy for their paper and
Yes.
such, that's that line, right?
Paper, pencils, Post-its.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything left, we're gonna do microwave at the end of the year.
We didn't get one? I thought we got one at the end of the
No.
last fiscal year.
I missed it.
I'll tell you what, I will buy personally a new microwave for the town office employees. So you find the one that you want and I will pick it up and it will be in the kitchen by the time you return from vacation.
Not even picky. As long as the timer works, oh yeah.
Oh, is that what, your timer isn't working?
No, you have to add a minute. It's your only choice.
That could be dangerous.
Yes.
I will grab one and stick it in there. Because I thought we got one at the end of this last fiscal year. All right, that's my note. Microwave.
I just keep waiting till the end of the year, because I mean, ours works, it's limping along.
I'll get a new one. Don't worry about it. It's my donation to the town this year. Along with the hours of my time. Any questions on buildings and grounds, Jeff?
Do you know what the deal is with electricity?
Yes, well, we spent 10 last year, and we were only on the net metering for the very last end, I think last quarter of that last year. So it didn't really, it was hard to get a good sense of what we were saving. So I'm nervous to cut that too terribly much, until we get a whole full year's worth of bills out of being on it. Because we signed up 2 years ago, but it took me a year to build it and get us on the system. So the system's running, it looks like we're saving a lot of money, but I'm nervous to count on it. And only 50% of our electricity is coming from that, remember?
Gene, you're good? Everybody's happy?
Well, I guess I have concerns that some of the repairs around the grounds here are able to be done, because I see we actually spent more than that money last year. And we still have crumbling stairs and, peeling paint.
And that last year
Yeah.
was part of the chaos. Remember, that was the chaotic, everything broke in one
Oh, okay,
year.
so it came out of there, not the
Some of it came
previous,
out of there,
and
some
some
of
both.
it came out of
Okay.
emergency, I mean.
Yeah, I know we had kind of
Yeah,
one
it
thing
was-
after another for
It was a
a little
nutty,
bit.
that was the nutty year.
Okay.
And this year, we had added money into that, in the budget to do the floors down
Yep.
here. So that's why on this budget, I just ratcheted it back to what it was originally.
Okay.
So certainly if you feel like there's more needed in there,
Well,
now's
hopefully,
the time to do it.
and, well, I would like to get to the point where Sandry wasn't being called every week. That can't be cheap.
I don't know how to get there.
I know, I think a different person to work on the furnace and get it working right. Because it's crazy.
It's not the worst idea in the world.
I mean, it just, you either don't have heat or, comes the spring, it can't shut it off, and it's, I worked in the library 53 degrees last winter sometimes. That's cold in the winter.
It's cold all year round.
Yeah,
Do we have a service contract at Sandry's or nothing really? I mean,
No,
we don't
I just-
necessarily buy any oil from them, right? So-
They're just the ones that are approved contractors to work
Yeah.
on the
Approved.
system. They filled out all the paperwork, we had everything we needed.
Oh, I see.
All the
Okay.
crazy paperwork that we have to do.
But I can just,
To a point.
I can just.
But even, you know,
If you have a suggestion and someone to call, I'm more than happy to give them a call, make an appointment, have them come down. I have no-
perhaps somebody with their own plumbing and heating business who should have all those credentials.
So what's the issue of these
But a lot of
boilers out here?
A lot of people do,
What's that?
they just.
These boilers right out here? Badaris boilers, so
I know. I schedule those computers at home myself.
you have one and I have one.
Yeah.
Not just
What's
anybody
the
can
name
work
of
them.
them?
Bradaris.
Yeah, that's the manufacturer of the boilers.
And if those are programmed right, they're meant to be very efficient.
Trouble
There's
free.
outside sensors, because I see them on the building. So when it's warm out, those furnaces should not be running. And they do. So the programming is just totally off.
Anybody else want me to call? I'll call anybody you want. I don't know anything about
I
how
guess
a
the
furnace
question
runs.
would be,
I can come up with some ideas.
Yeah,
also
do they know-
At a later time.
yeah, do they know those furnaces?
Yeah.
You try Coda and Coda. I mean,
Once it works on mine, I'll give them a call.
Yeah, just ask them specifically if they're experienced with Badaris.
They're the only ones I know. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Bradaris is not a company name, that's the name of the furnace.
that's the
Right,
It's a brand,
that's the
yeah.
brand of that furnace.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known, good brand. The German, is that right? Or, I don't remember.
Like that.
yeah, I think it is. All good things are German.
Beer, maybe.
Touch of me here.
A couple other things that are notorious for, though.
Absolutely. Anything else? Okay. So we're done with building and grounds. Town van.
I don't have anything for the town meeting. As far as comments that you guys have done.
Jeff, you have anything on the people mover?
No, I guess I can understand increased maintenance. Might last longer.
She's getting older.
Won't have to buy another one, so.
Gene, how about you? Okay. Other public safety. That is, what is that? Health officer, fire wardens, etc.
Which one you, oh, other, where
Yep.
did you go?
107266 is the account.
That one on here. Here we go.
Is that before the van?
It's after the van.
I think it's after the
Couple,
sheriff.
just a couple.
It's almost the last one. It's like third to last, maybe. Fourth to last.
After the
Ah,
fire department,
yep.
I think.
I skipped over it.
So the only comment I have on this is that last year we had jumped the fire warden permits down to 100 because they weren't, that money wasn't getting spent, they weren't being turned in, I guess. But look, now they are. Never have my phone. So sorry. They weren't being spent, but now they are. So they're turning them in. But I did talk to Cindy, $500 should cover it. And I think that's all I had for comments on this one. Upped the EOC building expenses just based on the cost of what it was to upkeep it last year.
Good.
Jeff, you got anything? Gene? So the only thing that the question, or I guess rediscussion is that UOC building, we talked about leaving it there, we talked about moving it in here, we talked about different options, and we never really I don't think we really particularly settled on anything outside of let's just leave it alone for now.
Yeah.
That building could potentially be ours, it could not potentially be ours, but it's an additional liability to the town, obviously. And maybe not a topic for discussion tonight, but something to think about, that it might be a good idea to bring that facility back here.
We need to revisit what we talked about before.
Yep, I believe so.
I don't really recall the particulars though.
It was,
I know what is that the same time we're talking about where to locate a generator?
exactly,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
So we'd have to locate a generator somewhere, it'd have to tie into the electrical system, which is not in tune to what we need. Bring over all the antennas and all that kind of thing from there to here. So there's a lot to moving it, but we're in a situation right now where we don't know if that building will be ours in the end.
Well, that was my next
So-
question, the status of that building.
It's ours as long as North Star owns it, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. So we got probably 10 years with it, maybe 8 years, don't know. Depends on how the decommissioning runs. But we need to be planning for an alternative and or deciding, do we want to purchase that building, or are we gonna be able to be gifted that building, and as a town, do we want it and continue to
I mean,
have
really,
maintenance on it?
how much use does it, well,
It's not significant.
yeah.
It's not
I mean,
significant.
and as far as space, does a whole house really, I mean, does it justify having a whole house?
No, he can work out of the
Yeah.
old police department very easily.
Okay.
Because we can expand, if there was to be an emergency situation, we can obviously expand into the basement if we needed more space.
Right.
So it's, like I said, not necessarily a discussion for tonight, but keeping that in the back of our minds that this is a $5,000, expense every single year. If that, adds up over the next 10 years, $50,000, can we get our generator and the things installed that we need at the same price or similar?
Right.
And bring it back here and drop a liability.
I mean, personally, I think a generator for the town office is a good idea regardless, so.
Yeah, I don't disagree in that respect as well.
I can also add that building needed some significant work done on the hot water heater, to the
Mhm.
tune of about $4,000 this last year.
Yep.
That North Star did cover, and the indication was that probably won't happen again. So, and we don't have money in our budget right now to cover an expense like that in that building.
Okay.
But Dave is working on a total amount. He's got a hold of the generator, the gentleman, the
Josh
contractor
King.
for the
Yep.
generator, and narrowed down that price. So he's working on what the total cost of moving the EOC over here would be.
Great. That was my only note. We're all set with that one? Okay. I think that takes us through the budget stuff we needed to get through. So I will ask Jean to put us in executive session regarding the review of a town employee.
Okay.
And
Just remember this.
have Michelle join us in that discussion.
Okay. So this is a two-motion one, I believe.
I believe you are
Okay.
correct.
I move that we enter executive session for consideration of town employee issue.
Yeah, I think there's an actual motion with that in it. Bear with me just one
It
second.
just says to like jump back up. to
It's
the other.
it is number 2, I believe, on the front.
On the front, number 2? It's 2 minutes.
Yes, right there. So it is it's a one motion
Oh,
deal.
That's Michelle,
Number
she
2.
keeps typing along, so she
Finally
remembers.
figured it out. All right, okay, there we are. All right, I move that we go into executive session regarding appointment or employment or evaluation of an employee, 1 VSA 3133A3. The
Second.
final decision to hire, appoint. Okay. That's for us.
Moved and seconded, and we were inviting Michelle into this one. Yes?
Yes, and with Michelle Palm. Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded to go into executive session with our town administrator. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We are in executive session at 7:12. We went into executive session at 7:12, came out at 7:20, no action was taken. Please bring us back into executive session with just the select board, please.
Okay. I move that we enter into executive session for the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer, employee, 1 VSA 3133A3. With the select board only.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session on the evaluation of employee. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are in executive session at 7:22. I'll hide my cookie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We went into executive session at 7:22, out at 7:45, no action was taken. We don't have any public to have participation. Correspondence and town admin report, please.
Okay, you have your correspondence in your packets. Just to let you know, I did ask the capital plan committee to see if they could get some prices on painting the town office and replacing the town office roof, so that we could get those two things on the capital plan. They are going to be needed, the painting probably sooner than the roof, but the roof, I am assuming, is a 40-year roof that was put on about 20 years ago. So, hopefully we'll get that on there. The municipal planning grant was filed today. Yay! That makes me very happy. The RFPs have gone out for auditors. Hopefully we can sign another 3-year contract again. We'll get those numbers before our budget talks are over. And I did want to say congratulations to our own Josh Unruh and Christopher Parker, who were selected as Rising Stars by Vermont Business Magazine. There were 40 Rising Stars chosen out of young leaders in Vermont out of 250 applicants around the state.
What was
So,
the age range? I mean, what was the?
up to 40 years
I
old.
just
40
said-
under 40, I just barely made it.
40.
In there, huh?
This was
Congratulations to Josh and Chris.
I think there was 8 I read in the article. It came up on Facebook.
8 from Wyndham County.
From Wyndham County, and 2 of them sit right in this room.
Awesome.
Helping out the town of Vernon. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good.
And that's all I have.
All right, upcoming meetings, we have a budget workshop tomorrow at 6:30. We talked about combining the regular and select board budget meetings to the 15th, and that will start at 6 o'clock, not 6:30. And that's all I
So
have.
tomorrow is 6. Right?
Tomorrow is 6:30.
All right, I might be a little late. I'm going to VLTC, Killington tomorrow
Okay,
for the
yep, that's right.
as a rep.
So tomorrow is 6:30, and then the 15th of October will be a combined select board and budget meeting starting at 6 o'clock. All right, we are adjourned.